Hello, welcome back to Where's Babs. I continue my conversation with John Schmitt. We talk about the things that we love best about Puerto Vallarta and hope we add some ideas for when you go to visit or possibly to retire there like John has. Enjoy the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Where's Babs. We're in a second conversation with John Schmitt, my colleague and friend from Chicago. We both fundraised there for many, many years and volunteered at the Association of Fundraising Professionals. And now we're happily retired. And John has a beautiful place down in Puerto Vallarta that he spends about 7 months every year there. And I've been there for long term and short term. And so we thought it'd be great to have a conversation as an insider as to if you're going to Puerto Vallarta short term, vacation 1 week to a month, maybe. And it's different when you live there. So we're going to give you some tips and hacks about what we love about being in Puerto Vallarta, no matter when you're there, and a little bit about the neighborhoods. John, welcome back to Where's Babs.
Hey, thanks, Barbara. Good to see you again. And good to talk about a place we both love, Puerto Vallarta.
Yes. So let's talk about if you're going to come to Puerto Vallarta for a week or a month for vacation, what would you say are the great highlights that folks would probably want to see? Maybe not in the typical tour book.
Sure. The number one thing I always think about is the Botanic Garden for Puerto Vallarta. It is just beautiful, beautiful place. And it's a place where you can take the bus out there and spend the day, have lunch. They have a beautiful pavilion where they have a wonderful restaurant. And they, in my opinion, they have the best fish tacos in all of Puerto Vallarta.
It's also up the hill and on the hill, so the views up there are just spectacular.
Right. And then another wonderful thing they do is over the lunchtime, they have an enormous bird feeder, and you probably know this, that they put down right below the restaurant, and they put all this fruit and vegetables and everything, and you always make sure you ask for a seat near the rail so that you can watch the birds, because it's just the number of birds that feed and the beautiful different sizes and colors is just amazing. So that's a little tip when you make your reservation at the restaurant. Make sure you ask them to be seated somewhere where you can watch the birds feast also.
And it is sort of a day trip. It's not, you can catch an Uber up there for sure, but you can also catch a bus, which is 10 pesos, and it bring you there and back.
Right.
And you want to just relax and enjoy yourself up there. And so the idea of running up there and running back, and
no, you want to devote the whole day.
Kind of miss and it's put together by an expat, and they've just done a beautiful job. And it's got a membership group, just like any museum in the United States. But they've done a beautiful job of keeping it as natural as possible. So the idea of feeding all those birds, right below you, is keeping that naturalness, except that giving the birds the food that they need anyway in one place.
Exactly. Yeah. And then it has some great walking trails that you can walk down below, and it's not that difficult. You can walk down to the river. I know people that take their bathing suits and swim in the river when they get down there. Yeah. So they have an orchid garden that is just unbelievable. There's a chapel that you have to go see where a lot of wedding ceremonies are held out at the Botanic Garden. And you can just spend the whole day walking around and being amazed at all the beautiful plants that they've planted there.
No, absolutely. I think the other thing that I've always suggested, if you're there during the right season, is the whale watching.
Yes, our humpback whales come down and spend. The season is typically, as I understand it, from like about January to about March, the end of March or May. And they actually have tours. There's a company that I highly recommend called Ocean Friendly that actually has a biologist who conducts the tour. He knows the whales like the back of his hand. He can give you their life history, and I learned from him. I've been on the tour a couple of different times, but they actually keep track of the whales from year to year by the notchings on their tails. Yes. He takes photographs of their tails, and he gives them, a scientific number or something, and can keep track of them from year to year. So he's very much an expert on whales. You'll learn a lot.
The Bay of Banderas is one of those volcanic bays that formed, when the earth formed. And so it's very, very deep. So they have their babies up in Baja, California, and then bring them down to Banderas Bay to teach them how to dive. and how to
Yeah.
swim. And so I think you've seen them from your balcony or from the walk on the
I've
Malik.
seen them from the balcony, and
Yeah.
this past season, 3 or 4 times a week, during my morning walk every day, you could see them on the Malecon, just off 500 feet or 500 yards away, playing and doing their thing. So yeah, they stayed in kind of the Old Town area
Yeah.
this season, and a lot of people saw them very regularly.
Yeah. And remember, these, as you said, these are as big as 747s. We're not talking about
Right.
small mammals. They're pretty damn big. Yeah.
And it's very, very impressive when they completely come out of the water and do their
Breaching.
diving back in. So it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Amazing that they can get all that weight out of the water.
Yeah. So what you think about the power of that tail,
Exactly.
what it can do. So I think that those are sort of good sort of day trips, because the whale watching usually goes out 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and you'll come back anytime between 1 and 4, depending on the trip that you have and how the whales are doing. And I think if you're there a little longer, folks go to Sayulita. They'll take a bus or a car to Sayulita or to Yalapa.
Yes, Yalapa is a day trip.
Yeah.
You can catch a boat there at the pier and spend the day over in Yalapa. So
we're talking about the Las Muertos Pier, and if you've been to Puerto Vallarta, you've seen a picture. It's a short little pier that goes out into the water, but it looks like a steel sail on the end of it. It's sort of downtown. It's sort of the old town marker from the beach. You walk up to the mountains from there, and so you can't really miss it. So when John refers to the pier, they're boats and water taxis that pick up all day long. Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead. So back to Yalapa. Yes.
So, and Yalapa is a day trip too. You can go over, spend the day, have lunch, and then come back in the evening. So yeah, those are great opportunities. Sayulita is a great trip also. It's kind of a surfing type town. I think that's kind of the reputation they have. It has more favorable waves for surfers, and it's different style. You don't have, I don't know that there's any buildings over 2 or 3 stories tall. It's all very quaint and a lot of color and art shops and that type of thing. So it's a fun day too.
And there's plenty of food and drink in Puerto Vallarta that's easy to find. And I think on the vacation idea of it, it's a slow vacation. I would encourage people to have a slow vacation. A beach club that you either pay for or just go to the free beach. Bring your hotel towels and just go and relax. Great food to be had and great drinks to be had. But instead of going down for a week or 2 weeks and trying to run around like crazy, seeing everything that you can do in Puerto Vallarta, pick some 2 or 3 really nice things or good things that you're interested in, and then, enjoy the rest of your time, breathe.
I agree. And I predict that if you go down there once, you're going to be coming for many years to follow. So you can do all the things over the many years that you're going to be visiting. Because I think you'll fall in love with it. Most people do. Yeah. And that's why it's so popular.
I think the other thing, though, is if you're going to live there, and whether you're living there for, I would say, anything more than a month, there are other things like the Wednesday art tours and other opportunities. You want to talk about that a little bit, where these are just things that happen, and it's part of your life living there, as opposed to rushing around and trying to figure out what you can do today.
If you're there for a long term, I think you need some kind of a structure, or at least I think I need some kind of structure to my life. So I do a daily walk of about 5 miles in the morning, and then when a lot of people come to visit, or that I know from Chicagoland, and so there's opportunities to do things with them, give them some exposure to like the Puerto Vallarta Art Museum, which has the first Saturday of every month, they have an open house with food and wine, and it's just a great way to kind of immerse yourself into what's going on in Puerto Vallarta. Cardenas Park every Friday night has the flamenco dancers and native dancers in different costumes and from regions all over Mexico. And it's young people. They appear to be about high school or older age that have probably been doing these cultural dances their entire life.
And I think also at that same park, they do Zumba every morning at 8 o'clock. And then along the Malecon at Los Arcos, there'll be folklore. And by the Church of Guadalupe on that square, there's live
Right,
music on a regular basis in the evenings as well. And so it's a wonderful, and I guess when you're there term or long term, those are just
right.
wonderful opportunities to steep yourself in the culture of Jalisco and Mexico.
Anytime you can walk the Malecon at night, and just a lot of local families come there with their children
Yeah.
because, like you said, Babs, there's a lot of entertainment in the amphitheater there, sunken amphitheater. I've seen everything from music to clowns to comedians, all kinds of things, and lots of food vendors. You can get all kinds of local Mexican food that you probably wouldn't even get in a restaurant. So uh, there's just lots of culture that you can immerse yourself in. The church, Our Lady of Guadalupe Church, make sure that you visit that. It's just beautiful. If you're there during Our Lady of Guadalupe Day,
Mhm.
there is an enormous parade that goes on for a couple of hours, and all these people making a pilgrimage into the church. And I've stood there and watched it for what seemed like hours and was just entertained the whole time,
Yeah.
seeing all these faithful people going up and getting their blessing from the priest. So it
But
was very,
even
very
just on a
impressive.
Sunday, or if someone's gotten married or they're baptizing a child, I've
Yes.
walked by and the families are out dressed in their finest, and I'll always offer to take photographs, and they're so grateful, because they want
Oh,
the picture
sure.
of the church behind them and the baby or the couple getting married and the quinceañeras going on. Yeah, it's
Right.
and it's right on a
And
beautiful square. It's a great place to just watch people.
then if you're fortunate enough to be there for Day of the Dead, which is right after Halloween,
Yeah.
it's a 2 or 3 day event that goes on. You have all these people that paint their faces like skeletons and are have beautiful costumes on. And we had the largest Katrina, which is the how do I describe it? It's like a skeletal woman with this big giant hat.
And
Part
it's
of
a
their
skeleton
cultural,
face, and she's
yes,
got beautiful clothing on, but they're usually tall. I mean, more your height or
right.
taller. Yeah.
But we Puerto Vallarta actually broke the Guinness Book of World Records for having the tallest Katrina that they had built. That was a good 3 stories tall.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Great photo op. Anytime you're there over those kind of special holidays, you're going to get a even more special treat of Puerto Vallarta and
And
its
I think
culture.
that that's also part of the joy of either planning your vacation to be there that time of year and or
Hmm.
living, that you end up being
Right.
part of that local community. Yes, you can go play bridge with all the people you want anywhere you want, or
Hmm.
you can go to the Church of Guadalupe and watch that celebration of this saint, right?
Right.
Or the Katrinas during that Day of the Dead, which we do pretty well in Chicago, but I don't ever remember seeing a Katrina. Like I remember seeing all of the
I
heads
don't
of
either.
the
Right.
skeletons, but I don't remember seeing the Katrinas. So
I
it's
don't
just a
either. So,
wonderful time of year and very visual time of year. It's really very
right.
nice. Yeah.
But you have to experience the food and the spiciness of some of the Mexican. I'm very courageous. I want it. The hotter I can get it, the better I am. A lot of the restaurants, they have different salsas with different
Yep.
flavors of hotness. So, and make sure you ask, and they'll tell you which one. This is muy caliente, very, very hot.
Yes.
Uh, you got to experience the Mexican food. So it's incredible.
And I think in Puerto Vallarta, you don't really have to worry about that. I mean, I've heard a couple people got, a little bit sick or whatever, but the restaurants are very clean. They've taken care of
Yes.
things, and you can absolutely, if you really need to, there's lots of fried chicken and American hamburgers and things like that as well. But
Right.
we would definitely encourage you to try some of the local fare, and especially in your neighborhood on Basilio Badillo. There are
Hmm.
some phenomenal restaurants. I mean, we can't name them all. There are just a lot of them, and you
Right.
can decide
There
what.
are.
Fresh fish is a specialty there for sure, and highly recommended. So I just think living there, there's a La Comer, and then your local supermarkets that you can shop in, as well as the farmers markets, which are just phenomenal.
Right.
And whether you're there short term or long term, that Saturday market, the farmers market, you can get ready to eat breakfast and rolls and fresh baked
Hmm.
goods, or the fruit and vegetables for your week. Living there,
And
you can't.
and then just a few blocks away from where I live, there's actually a outdoor market where
Daily.
you can get fruits and vegetables. It's there every single day.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Mexican families go almost every day to get their fresh meats and their vegetables and that kind of thing. And it's a great place to shop, and it's just great experience just to go see what it's all about.
So if you're living there, you know, we talk about this when we travel. If you've gone for a long stay somewhere, you can't eat like you're on vacation every day. A, it's too
No,
expensive, and B, at our age, the metabolism is just not working the way it used to work. So,
exactly.
you know, you just got to find that local food and really enjoy it.
Put myself to maybe once or twice going to a restaurant.
Yeah.
If friends are in town, you know, you're gonna probably end up going out every night with them. You just don't have any choice. But yeah, you have to treat it like you're living in Chicago, and you're not going to go to a restaurant every night here, and you're not going to do that when you're living there either. So,
Well, I think this has been great. Do you have any final words you'd like to share with our viewers who are thinking about vacationing or living in Puerto Vallarta?
I think once you've gone there, you're going to fall in love with it, and you'll probably return. And then you may very well make a decision to either rent year round or actually buy a piece of property.
John, thank you again. It was a great seeing you again. And I
Good to see you. Yes.
sharing all of your love of Puerto Vallarta and all the inside scoop. And we'll look forward to more conversations in the future. And thanks to our listeners for being with us, and hope you found some value. And if you did, please like and subscribe and tell your friends about Where's Babs. John, have a wonderful day and enjoy your travel.
And good to see you, Barbara. And I look forward to following you on all your travels.
Awesome. I hope you enjoyed the show and learned more about John and his retirement in Puerto Vallarta and why you may want to go. Remember to follow Where's Babs on our blog, our podcast, which you're listening to, as well as on YouTube and Instagram. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.